Hello there. You probably ask yourself, how often does this man think of the Roman Empire? And the answer is a lot. I mean, I'm a historian after all, but also because it is a fascinating time in history. So it is about time I do an episode about a Roman. And Diocletian is not just any Roman. He was an army officer, emperor, savior of the empire, brutal pursuer of Christians, and most importantly of all, a cabbage farmer with magnificent cabbages. Diocletian was born 242 or 43 CE in Dalmatia, modern-day Croatia, under the name Gaius Valerius Diocles. His parentage is not quite clear, as different records exist. Some say his father was a scribe, others say he was a freedman, that is a slave that was granted or bought himself freedom. Either way, he was of low birth. Under Emperor Carus, he rose to the rank of an elite cavalry officer and later consul. But then, said emperor died while on a, until that point, successful campaign in Persia. And he did not just die in any regular way, he was reportedly struck by lightning. Now for the Romans this was a sign of the gods, Jupiter specifically, who was known to smite humans by the power of his thunderbolts. The strange thing was that Carus did well as an emperor until that point. He had secured the borders, punished the murderers of his predecessor Probus, and even managed to defeat Rome's biggest rival of the time, the Sassanid Empire. Carus, however, had two sons, Numerian, who went with him on the Persian campaign, and Carinus, who was left in Rome to administer the empire. Numerian, however, was soon found dead by his troops, murdered by his own Praetorian Guard. Honestly, one of the most frequent causes of death for a Roman emperor, and Carinus was, well, Carinus? The younger son of Carus had wasted no time and abused his position, reportedly marrying 9 wives while also already being married. Carus himself, when he was still alive, attempted to replace his own son with his officer Constantinus, but never managed to do so before lightning struck. So with 2 emperors dead in short succession and a depraved imbecile on the throne, the army nominated Diocles to become their new emperor, which he agreed to under the name Diocletian. The first order was to depose Carinus. At this point I want to mention that all our surviving sources about Carinus stem from the time after Diocletian conquered the throne from him. So there is a good chance all the while stories of his incompetence and abuse of power are just propaganda by his successor. Either way, Diocletian realized that the Roman Empire could not go on like it did. Emperors were frequently murdered, even the best among them, like the recent victims Aurelian and Probus, and usurpers rose up almost like seasonal events. Remember when I said the Romans thought Carus being struck by lightning was divine punishment? Diocletian certainly remembered and used the story to justify his drastic steps. He completely dismantled the institution of the emperor as it was founded by Emperor Augustus centuries ago. He replaced it with the tetrarchy. No longer would there be one emperor, supported by a senate, there would be 4 emperors, 2 Augusti and 2 Caesaris. This meant the empire would be divided between 2 main emperors, the Augusti, and their respective co-emperors, the Caesaris. And unlike previous emperors, they would not hold the title princeps, which means first among the citizens, a title Augustus invented to make it seem like he wasn't a monarch, but dominus, which means master. Diocletian and his fellow emperors would be ruling by divine will, as Jupiter supposedly commanded. As the rank of emperor was now more so than ever tied to the Roman religion, Diocletian was of course no fan of a pesky cult that gathered more and more members every day in the shadows of the Imperium Romanum: Christianity. Other emperors had tried to purge Christianity before him, most famously Emperor Nero, but few pursued this minority as vigorously as Diocletian. As we can see, however, he was ultimately unsuccessful, as the dead Christians just became martyrs that spurred more people to join their ranks, and the purges were unpopular even among the pagan population. However, another cult that started around the same time, Manichaeism, was equally severely purged and actually mostly disappeared out of the empire. Manichaeism is a very interesting topic in itself, so I will return to it in a future episode. For now, back to Diocletian. As fellow emperors, Diocletian chose Maximian, Constantinus and Galerius, all fellow officers under Carus. In general, they were good choices. Only Maximian the Augustus of the West, disappointed, as he could not prevent the uprising of another usurper, a man named Carausius, who took control of Britain and proclaimed the Britannic Empire. Diocletian sent Constantinus to deal with the threat, who succeeded. Content that 2 out of his 3 picks as emperors worked out, Diocletian concluded that the new system worked and would save the empire in the long run. Competent emperors could choose competent successors, and if one needed help, they could just ask any of the other 3. Other reforms by Diocletian included splintering of provinces to give provincial governors smaller power bases and splitting up military and administrative career paths, all to lower the risk of usurpers that had plagued the empire constantly for so long. He also introduced a new gold coin, the solidus, which over time decreased the rampant inflation, and he introduced a form of proto-serfdom, which meant that people were now tied to the profession they were born into. Meaning, if the father was a smith, so would be the son. This was meant to make sure the Roman Empire would never lack crucial professions. All of these reforms, wars and purges left a heavy toll on the emperor's aging body. Unlike any of his predecessors, he decided to do the unthinkable. In 305 CE, he retired. He returned to his homeland of Dalmatia and became a cabbage farmer. With the tetrarchy firmly in place, Diocletian had no doubt that Rome's future was secure, even without him. But he was sorely mistaken. Within a few years, the tetrarchy became unraveled by the same political games it sought to end. Galerius and Maximian, utterly out of their depth, begged Diocletian to meet up with them, which he complied to out of respect of their friendship. There, Maximian asked the retired emperor to return to his office, to which Diocletian supposedly replied, "If only you saw the majestic cabbages I was growing back home, you too would give up the pursuit of worldly power." And with that, he stayed retired. Soon Constantine the Great would take the reins of the empire and abolish the tetrarchy completely. He would also officially tolerate Christianity, becoming the first emperor to convert to the religion himself. This is the end of today's biography. As you might be able to tell, I have a great love for Roman history, so this certainly won't be the last time we delve into it. Once more, thanks to my amazing artist and to you viewers. Liking, commenting and subscribing helps the channel greatly. Until next time, bye! The purges were unpopular even among the pagan population. Yeah, sure, pagan.